Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another of these insanely cool Dino Mike Mac Paleo Revived figures. I have reviewed a few now on the channel. I think I did the Ornithomimus, the Microceratus, and Compsognathus. We're now going to jump to a bit of a larger species this time around, as we've got ourselves the Nanuqsaurus. And this is a really cool one because you really don't see Nanuqsaurus figures very often. It's definitely not something that you really see too many companies making. Every once in a while we'll get one. I think we have one from Collect Day, and Nikola Roglic has a few out actually, but I can't really think of too many others than those. But again, the figure does look really fun, definitely following that same style of figure that we see in the Paleo Revived line, and it sports articulation, which is of course a really fun aspect. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at this, and we'll check it out from there. So beginning up here at the head sculpt, you can see straight away the head sculpt does sport some pretty nice fine detail. Another really cool aspect to this figure is the fact that it has lips, which you can see. I think that will please many people right out of the gate. I also want to state that, as per usual with these figures, they would come unpainted. You would then have to paint it up. This is the paintwork that I, gave to mine, so yours could look drastically different if you choose to go a different route. But I felt like this paint scheme looked pretty cool on it. It looked fairly natural overall. But you can see, again, the skin texture looks nice, kind of fine here in the face area. You've got the nostrils up here. You can also see some decent detailing there in the eye socket area. Obviously, we've got a nice skin texture for the face, but as we move back, we begin to pick up some feathering. Again, pretty much exactly what you'd expect for this species. As I mentioned, we do have articulation on this figure. You can see we've got an articulated jaw, which is really cool. Definitely a nice touch for the figure. And you could also see that, again, that jaw closes pretty nicely, not too bad at all. On the inside of the mouth, you can see we do have a tongue sculpted out in there, which looks pretty good. The teeth are really quite small, very fine overall, but they look pretty decent as well. And you can see, again, some nice looking detail there on the inside of the mouth on every side. And another area of articulation for this figure, which is pretty cool, is neck articulation. And that's not something that any of the other figures in this line up until this point had. You can articulate it down about that far, go up about that high, so you can articulate that neck around quite a bit, which is very, very nice. As you lead back into the neck, again, you've got some feather detail here. You can see kind of small, fine feathering here, almost emu-like feathering, but very fine as we move down the course of the neck. But as you lead down into the body of our Nanuqsaurus, you really start to see the feathers get a little bit bigger, a little bit scruffier. Same style of feathering that we have up there in the neck, but definitely, again, a bit scruffier as you move down. As you lead down into the arms look pretty nice. Again, nice feathering running down through the course of the arms. And this is a Jurassic World style dinosaur. Like, these are all basically meant to be figures that can go straight into the Mattel line, and give you a version of a Nanuqsaurus that maybe you could include in your Mattel line. So you're going to see, one thing is that the wrists are pronated, which when it comes to the Jurassic World dinosaurs, a lot of them usually have pronated wrists, so that just kind of follows along with the trend of the Jurassic World type dinosaur, especially considering, you see that on the T-Rex and stuff, and this is a Tyrannosaur species. But as you move down, you can see that the fingers look really quite nice. You've got some very nice, very sharp looking nails right there, sculpted out as well. And another thing that's really cool is you do actually have arm articulation for the Nanuqsaurus, and of course you have the same thing for both arms. As you continue to move back, you can see we've got the hip bone protruding from the skin a little bit right there, even showing off through the feathering. You can see the spinal column running along the back. As you lead down, you've got a big bulky calf muscle and thigh muscle. Even though it's covered in feathers, you can definitely still see it. And yes, you do have articulation in the legs as well, which is definitely nice. Some pretty good mobility in those legs as well. As you lead down, again, you can see the feathering moving down through the course of that leg. Continues to have that very emu-like look. And then you lead down into the foot. The foot, obviously, we return back to the skin texture here, right above the ankle. And you lead down, you've got a really nice, very bird-like foot sculpt for the Nanuqsaurus. And again, the nails are sculpted very nicely. They do have a genuine sharp look to them. We do have dew claws as well. And then you lead back up, and you've got a very nice tail sculpt as well, which goes completely straight out. And these figures are, again, posable, but they're for the most part kind of in like a neutral position. So they kind of remind me of like the Walking with Dinosaurs type figures, which I really like. And again, you can see the tail is straight out. There's no articulation or anything in the tail. Considering these are 3D printed figures, I really don't know how you would achieve that. So the lack of articulation in the tails, I think, is just completely fine. There's not really much of a need to really articulate the tail anyway. But you can see, again, we've got all sorts of, if my camera would focus, all sorts of really nice feather detail as you lead out through the length of the tail. You also have some nice, very fine detail here on the underside as well. Again, feathers pretty much encasing the figure from every side pretty much as you lead back up there into the lower jaw. So definitely a really cool figure. Of course, it's going to look pretty much the same on both sides, considering it is, in a neutral position. You're not really going to see anything different over here. And of course, if the paintwork differs, that's my fault, not the fault of Dino Mike Mac or the Paleo Revived line. But the figure is actually, again, like I said, really cool. Definitely a very nice species choice as well on the part of Dino Mike Mac. As far as a size goes for our Nanuqsaurus, lengthwise from the snout to the tail, you are looking at about 10 3/4 inches or around 27.5 centimeters. And then for a height to the top of the head in the position it's currently in, just shy of 4.5 inches or a little under 11.5 centimeters, but obviously that could change depending on the position you have your Nanuqsaurus in. You can position it more upright and stuff like that because the legs are articulated, so that's really your call. But as far as a size comparison goes, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovisaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Paleo Revived Nanuqsaurus. And you can see it does have a pretty good size to it. Definitely the largest of the Paleo Revived line so far that we have taken a look at here on the channel, though I can tell you there is definitely larger figures in this line, but this one does still sport a pretty nice, very impressive size. Then we've got a comparison with a Mattel Velociraptor and Dilophosaurus next to our Nanuqsaurus, again showing you that it's not the biggest figure in the world, but it is still quite nicely sized. And then for a comparison next to your average Roarivore style figure, we've got a Ceratosaurus here next to the Nanuqsaurus, which you can see the Nanuqsaurus is a little bit smaller than the standard, type Ceratosaurus, Roarivore type size range, but still, again, very cool looking to see these figures next to each other. And then for another fun comparison, when it comes to Paleo Revived figures, we have the Ornithomimus next to our Nanuqsaurus, just to show off how these size up next to each other. And then for one final, very small comparison, we have a Microceratus from the Paleo Revived line as well, next to our Nanuqsaurus, just to show you how massive the difference in size is between these guys. So this Dino Mike Mac Paleo Revived articulated Jurassic World style Nanuqsaurus is definitely another really fun figure. I am loving this line, absolutely loving it, and honestly until just like a few months ago I didn't even know that this was a thing he was planning, so to actually now have these figures out on the market and in my hands is really cool. And you can actually purchase these right now as they are shipping. They're not just pre-orders anymore. You can purchase them and they will ship right away. And I think he actually was running a deal recently where you can buy the entire wave of figures for a really good price. I forget exactly what it was right now. And I don't know if the deal's still going on, but it's definitely worth checking into and contacting Dino Mike Mac to, find out about that. But the figure again here, very cool species choice yet again. He's really got some very cool species in this line as a whole so far. Again, like Ornithomimus, Microceratus, Compsognathus, which is a dinosaur that is very popular in the Jurassic franchise, but consistently overlooked when it comes to figures. And now a Nanuqsaurus. Again, definitely picking up Mattel's slack when it comes to some of these species and giving us very, very cool versions of them. And this one, just like with the others, is really beautifully detailed. You can see again, as you move through the course of the figure, it does sport the type of detail, the type of appearance you would expect to see or you would want to see for a Nanuqsaurus, especially when it comes to the nice feathered look. And I think the feathers and the way they are sculpted also looks really good. They definitely have pretty much exactly the type of feathering I would expect to see on a species like this. And again, when you go to the skin textured areas, those areas as well are very nicely detailed on top of the feathers. And you have lips for the dinosaur, which is of course a great thing. And on top of all of that, the fact that it does sport articulation is really cool. And again, for a line of figures so fresh and so new to be able to sport articulation and stuff like this, in my opinion, is just really cool. And again, another very nice figure that I get to add to my collection now, having a Nanuqsaurus with articulation, which is something I definitely did not have previously. So if you are interested in picking this or any of the other Paleo Revived figures up for yourself, I will include links in the description to where you can do that, as well as, of course, links to the Instagram account where you can follow Dino Mike Mac and stay up to date on everything that he is working on. And the fact that there will be another wave of these coming soon means you should probably follow him on there so that you can, check out the figures as he progresses. So one way or another, if you are interested, check those links in the description. Definitely an awesome figure. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of it, and of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.